Well, good evening and welcome to the celebration of life here. And in just a few minutes, we'll be starting. But I'd like to give everyone the opportunity to silence any cell phones that you might have.
Keith was not only my brother, but he was my friend. Even though he used to snitch on me when I was a kid, he always told my mom things that I wasn't supposed to be doing anyway, but he was a snitch. But then I realized as I got older, he was just looking out for me. Keith was born to the late Dorothy and Jay Boyer. His brothers and sisters, Michael Kent, Mike Malachi, also known as Kent, Florence, Gerard, Mary, and Kathy. That's me. He was preceded in death by his brothers Daniel, sister Jody and Dorothy, and two nieces, Heather and Autumn Boyer. He had been blessed with many friends, and I hate calling them friends because they were more than that to Keith. They were his brothers. Mike Jacob, Sandy Jacob, Derry and Joyce Dow, Al Dow, Pat Deadman Weege, and so many more. I can't remember everybody's name, I'm sorry. Keith served in the Army from 1968 to 1970, serving 2 terms in Vietnam. Keith was awarded many service medals. He was also awarded the Bronze Star. We all know how he loved his '55 Chevy, and the changes he made to that car over the years were unbelievable. That was his baby. He loved going to car shows with his band of brothers. Keith lived his life on his own terms. He never let anybody tell him how to live his life. He was his own person. Keith will be sadly missed, and his smile and his sense of humor will surely be missed. And I'd like to thank you all for coming today. And as Keith would say, Dee Dee Mao, which translates, get lost. Does anybody else want to say anything? No? Okay. Okay.
Hi, so I'm Keith's niece, and I lived 4 houses down from my uncle for some years. When my son was little, he was about 3 or 4, I want to say probably closer to 4, and he would ride his little 2-wheel bike. Every time he'd see my Uncle Keith outside working on a car, my son had to ride his bike down there to get his bike fixed, but for the record, his bike was never actually really broken, but it was okay because Uncle Keith always entertained him and always fixed his bike for him. And I'd have to go down there and fetch my son because that's where he always wanted to be. And up until recently, I mean, I can honestly say I didn't know too much about my uncle. I knew about his cars, his love for his cars, and stuff like that. And it recently came to my attention that my uncle was a bookie. I don't know what AC, QC, DC, I don't know what these letters are, but it's a funny story because I didn't know what this armchair football thing was. All we found was a bunch of records of it or whatever. And I had to laugh hysterically because the first thing that popped in my head was that he was a bookie. Then we find this speeding ticket that wasn't real, but in my mind it was real, so I thought it was like the coolest thing ever, and I'm calling anybody that'll listen to tell them that my uncle was doing 157 miles an hour down Main Street, only to get my dreams crushed to find out it wasn't real, but that's okay. But from what I know of my uncle, he was an amazing man, and he really will be missed by my family and obviously his friends, so that's all.
In just a few minutes, the military will come in and retrieve the flag and the urn, and we're going to go out to the front doors for military honors. Following that, you're all invited to join with all the family at Casa Capri. Please come because there's been arrangements made for all of you. So thank you all for coming.
Each cell has three modules. Each cell has a special meaning. First one is duty, honor, and country. It's 55 country. Thank you. God bless you for all that.
This now concludes the services. Thank you all for coming. Once again, we're all right down in Casa Capri. I'm sure everyone knows where it is, but you go up to the stop and go right here to the left, and go to the second stop and go right there. So thank you for